You wake up before the sun, the house still dark and quiet. You lie there for a moment, blinking into the soft shadows, noticing how still everything feels. The weight of the covers, the hush of the morning, the gentle hum of the world not quite awake. But there's something else missing, something you haven't spoken aloud, maybe not even to yourself. That old, familiar presence between your legs. Gone. Not entirely, maybe, but diminished. Softer, absent in a way that gnaws at something deeper than flesh. A sense of vitality, of readiness, of certainty that used to be there like clockwork. It's not just about intimacy, it's about identity, about feeling like yourself. This quiet shift, this fading, it doesn't come all at once. It's slow, gradual, subtle enough that you can pretend it's nothing. For a while, you tell yourself you're just tired. Maybe you didn't sleep right. Maybe it's just stress, but somewhere inside, you start to wonder, is this just how it is now? I've seen that look in a man's eyes more times than I can count. The kind of weariness that doesn't show on the outside, but sits heavy behind the eyes. They come into my office with a blood pressure concern, maybe a question about supplements. But after a pause, a long, reluctant silence, they ask the real question. Sometimes it's just a shrug. Sometimes it's a whisper. Doc, is this normal? And what they mean is, am I still okay? Am I still me? I remember one man in particular. Let's call him Alan, 72 years old, retired engineer. He wasn't what you'd call overly emotional. In fact, he prided himself on being practical, measured. But when he finally sat down in front of me and looked me in the eye, there was a quiet plea there. Not desperation, exactly. More like resignation, with a flicker of hope still fighting to stay lit. He said, I'm not trying to be 20 again. I just want to feel alive in the mornings. I want to feel like something is still working, like I'm not disappearing. What Alan was talking about wasn't just physical performance. It was a deeper loss, a sense of shrinking presence in his own life. That natural rhythm of the body, the quiet confidence it used to carry, now replaced by doubt. And the truth is, he wasn't alone, not by a long shot. This is something many men go through, in silence, behind closed doors, under the assumption that this is just the price of aging. But that's not the whole story. You see, when we talk about morning erections, and yes, we're going to talk about them, we're not just talking about sex, we're talking about blood flow, we're talking about hormone balance, we're talking about vascular health, neurological responsiveness, and even sleep quality. That early morning signal, the one you used to take for granted, is actually a vital sign, a quiet barometer of how your body is functioning on a deeper level. It's your body's way of saying, I'm alive, I'm circulating, I'm still capable. And when that signal fades, it's not just a loss of function, it's a loss of communication between the body and the self. Physiologically, several things are likely happening. Testosterone levels naturally decline with age, sometimes slowly, sometimes sharply. Blood vessels begin to stiffen, making it harder for blood to flow freely, especially in the microvascular system. Nitric oxide, the molecule that signals blood vessels to relax and expand, also declines. Add in a bit of oxidative stress, some low-grade inflammation, and perhaps a few too many sedentary hours, and the cumulative effect is subtle but significant. It doesn't scream, it just fades. And then there's the nervous system. The sympathetic and parasympathetic branches, fight or flight, and rest and repair. Most of us live in constant fight or flight. Stress, deadlines, worries, they dominate. And when that happens, the body never fully returns to the parasympathetic state where healing and restoration happen. And yes, that includes sexual function. Erections are not created in chaos. They are born of peace, of circulation, of hormonal orchestration. Now, all of this might sound overwhelming, but what if I told you there's a simple, natural way to begin reawakening those systems? Not by overriding them, not with synthetic quick fixes, but by gently supporting what your body already wants to do? A way to help the blood move again, to lower the inflammation, to calm the nervous system and restore balance, not with pills, but with presence. And all it takes is 9 drops. I know that sounds small, insignificant maybe, but sometimes the most powerful changes begin with the quietest acts. Castor oil, something your grandmother may have kept on the shelf, is one of nature's most overlooked healers. And what it does, particularly for circulation, inflammation, and lymphatic drainage, is quietly profound. Castor oil isn't a stimulant. It's not a hormone. It doesn't force anything. What it does is support deeply, steadily, and without disruption. Its primary component, ricinoleic acid, has been shown to activate the body's detoxification pathways and increase blood flow in the microcirculatory system. Applied topically, especially in thin-skinned, highly absorbent areas like the lower abdomen or inner thighs, it begins to work not by shocking the system, but by inviting it to soften, release, and flow again. Now imagine this. Before bed, instead of flipping through your phone or turning on another loud distraction, you take a small bottle of organic, cold-pressed castor oil. You place 9 drops into your palm. You warm them gently by rubbing your hands together, and then you begin to massage the oil into your lower abdomen, just below the navel, down toward the groin, maybe the inner thighs. Slowly, intentionally, no rush, just you, taking a few quiet minutes to reconnect with your body. The skin drinks it in. The warmth of your hands activates blood flow. The oil begins to penetrate, layer by layer, down to the lymph, the vessels, the nerves. You're not just applying oil, you're inviting life back in. You're telling your body, I haven't given up on you. You might choose to lay a warm cloth over the area afterward. Something as simple as a damp towel heated in the microwave. The warmth helps the oil absorb even deeper. Then you go to sleep. That's it. No hard effort, no performance, just a ritual, a restoration. This isn't magic, it's biology, gently supported. And for many of my patients, something shifts. Not overnight, not dramatically, but consistently. They begin to wake with a different feeling. A quiet stir, a sense of strength returning. The body remembers how to speak and how to listen. Circulation improves. Sleep deepens. Confidence, that subtle but unmistakable presence, begins to rise again. Now, I'm not saying castor oil alone is a cure-all. Of course not. But what I am saying is that this ritual, this act of care, can be the beginning of a larger return. And when paired with a few key habits, the impact can be deeply transformative. But we'll get to those in a moment. The real truth is, most men don't need more stimulation. They need restoration. And that begins with presence, with choosing each night to do something simple, consistent, and profoundly respectful of the body they've lived in for decades. Aging doesn't mean disappearing. It means changing. And with the right tools, the right support, it can also mean deepening. We'll talk more in a moment about how to layer in lifestyle habits that complement this practice, habits that quietly amplify the effects of the oil and help build a foundation for lasting vitality. But before we go there, I want you to sit with this idea that you are not past your prime. You are not broken. And this small act of care might just be the first step back toward the version of you that feels most alive. It's easy to dismiss something so small. 9 drops, a few minutes before bed, a quiet massage. And yet, Healing doesn't always arrive with fireworks. More often, it enters softly, through consistency, through stillness, through listening. Once a man begins this nightly ritual, something often begins to shift within him, not just physically but psychologically. He's no longer waiting for a fix. He's participating in his own care. And that is where true change begins. But castor oil alone, as gentle and powerful as it can be, works best when paired with simple daily anchors. Small actions that nudge the body further toward balance. Think of it like tending a fire. The oil is the spark, but you still need to feed the flame. And that doesn't require overhauling your life. It requires noticing, choosing, being willing to support your body like you would an old, faithful companion that's carried you through storms. Start with water, warm, clean water in the morning, ideally with a squeeze of lemon. Not cold, not rushed, just a glass or two before coffee or food. It wakes up the liver. It tells the body the day has begun, and it clears away the metabolic debris that can slow everything else down. Then give yourself breath. I'm not talking about meditation, though that's fine too. I mean just 5 deep, conscious breaths before you step into the noise of the day. In through the nose, down into the belly, hold, then exhale slowly. That breath isn't just air. It's nitric oxide, it's circulation, it's presence. It's the opposite of the clenched chest most of us walk around with. If you're able, take a short walk after your evening meal, 10-15 minutes. No destination, no pace requirement. Just movement, just circulation, blood moving, muscles engaged, digestion supported. It's in these simple motions that the castor oil's effects are reinforced. You're sending the message with every step and breath that the body's systems are worth waking up again. Avoid eating too close to bedtime. Give your system time to rest without the burden of digestion. The body's hormonal rhythms, testosterone included, respond best when the body isn't overloaded late at night. And sleep. Oh, how underestimated it is. Not just the hours, but the quality, the depth, the permission to fully let go. Your brain cleans itself while you sleep. Your blood pressure resets. Your endocrine system calibrates. And yes, the signals for sexual function, vitality, morning arousal, they are born in the depths of that rest. The ritual of the 9 drops helps settle you into that sleep. But the commitment to protect it? That's yours to make. And here's what I've seen over the years. When a man gives himself permission to show up for his body like this, without shame, without ego, things begin to return. Not in some dramatic, cinematic way, but in the mirror, in the way he rises from bed, in the subtle strength of his grip, in the confidence behind his eyes when he says, "I feel better." Not perfect, not young again, just better. There's a moment I'll never forget. It was about 6 weeks after Alan had started his nightly castor oil ritual, along with some of these gentle practices. He came in for a routine checkup, and something was different. He wasn't leaning forward in his chair anymore. He sat back, relaxed. There was this quiet, calm energy about him. I asked how he was doing. He smiled, not with bravado, but with something deeper. He said, "I don't think it's about the mornings anymore. I think it's about how I carry myself the rest of the day. That's the thing most people miss. Morning arousal, energy, circulation. They're not isolated symptoms. They're echoes of how well your entire system is functioning. They're signs of whether you're living in alignment with your body's needs. And when that alignment begins to return, through 9 drops, a walk, a breath, a full night's sleep, the body starts sending different messages. Messages of strength, of readiness, of life. You see, aging isn't a verdict, it's a transition. And like any transition, it can be navigated with wisdom, with grace, and with care. But it requires participation. It requires you to stop waiting for a magic bullet and instead begin showing up for yourself in the small ways that build momentum. Because the truth is, the body is always listening, it's always adapting, and even now, especially now, it wants to heal. I'm not promising miracles. That's not what this is about. This is about meeting your body where it is, not where it used to be. It's about laying down the tools of force and frustration and picking up gentleness and consistency. It's about becoming an ally to your own well-being instead of an impatient critic. And yes, it's about rekindling that sense of vitality that once arrived with the sunrise. You may be wondering when you'll start to feel it. Some men notice a change within days. Others take a few weeks. It's not a race. It's not about tracking results with a stopwatch. It's about re-establishing trust with your own physiology. Letting it know you're willing to support, not just demand. There may be mornings when you still feel soft, in body, in mood, in presence. That's okay. Those are the mornings when this practice matters most, because softness isn't failure, it's feedback. And with care, softness can become suppleness. It can become energy. It can become strength, rebuilt from the inside out. This journey you're on, it's not just physical, it's emotional, psychological, spiritual even. And I say that not to sound lofty, but because the body is not a machine, it's a living, breathing, feeling system that responds to love, to ritual, to attention. And as you begin to show up for yourself, night after night, with these 9 drops and the quiet breath that follows, you may begin to feel something you thought was gone. Not just arousal, but dignity, warmth, power. We live in a culture that teaches men to push through, to tough it out, to stay silent. But health doesn't live in silence. It lives in relationship, with your body, with your habits, with the small acts of care that signal, I matter, I'm not giving up, I'm worth this. So tonight, when the world gets quiet and the distractions fade, take those 9 drops into your hand. Warm them, feel them. Apply them with intention, not haste. Let your hands remind your body that you are not ignoring it. You are listening, you are supporting, you are reclaiming. And tomorrow morning, don't reach for a measurement. Just notice how you rise, how you walk, how you carry your breath. These are your signs. These are your metrics. Let them guide you. I'll leave you with this. You are not a problem to fix. You are a story still being written. And in the pages ahead, there is room for strength, for passion, for connection, not just with others, but with yourself. You are not done, not even close. So give yourself this, not for vanity, not for performance, but for presence, for energy, for the quiet, powerful return of what it means to feel like you again. I'm Dr. Camila Cruz, and I hope you'll try the 9 drops tonight, not because they promise everything, but because they just might begin something. You deserve that. You always have.